I'm Nicholas Christoph in Angola. Jose Chivango has just died in front of his mother and grandmother. A foreign doctor tries to revive Jose, but it's too late. Nurses are helpless. You're seeing cases like this all the time. What do you feel when you have these kids dying unnecessarily?
Estagnada, não consigo fazer nada, mas eu sinto pela criança aqui. Tá aí, o hospital às vezes não tem essas coisas. Você?
16,000 children die every day worldwide, and most cases are preventable. Nowhere is it worse than Angola. This is the deadliest country in the world for kids, and yet the government has just cut the health budget by 30%. At a sunset dance party in the capital, Luanda, you'd never know there's a health crisis here. And that's a crazy part. This country is actually filthy rich, flush with oil and diamonds. There's so much money here that a one-bedroom apartment downtown can cost $12,000 a month. The real problem is it's just spectacularly corrupt. Officials here spend $50 million a year on luxury cars alone. Judges here get Jaguars to drive, as kids perish at the highest rate in the world. Just 30 minutes from the presidential mansion. This road leads to a hospital serving 500,000 people. Like many hospitals I visited, it's impeccably clean and modern. The only thing missing? Doctors. There are 5 mothers here with urgent cases of children who are very sick. 4 of the 5 have already lost other children. Almost all the cases here are preventable. No detectable hemoglobin? Wow. And the staff was clueless. I was shocked that this nurse didn't know that Marcelina's reddish hair is an obvious sign of malnutrition. She's malnourished, right?
Não tem malnutrição, mas é só a malária mesmo que ela tem. O cabelo dele é sempre mesmo vermelho, não é isso?
O cabelo dela só começou a ficar curto quando ela também tem um problema de inflamar o corpo, barriga.
É malnutrição.
Here's my diagnosis. It's easier for officials to steal money by commissioning a big, expensive hospital. Training staff, on the other hand, doesn't offer that kind of payday. President Jose dos Santos has ruled for 36 years through a brutal civil war that ended in 2002. He's used the country's oil wealth to enrich his cronies as kids die. But I know the president cares about at least one child. After all, he turned his daughter, Isabel, into Africa's youngest billionaire. Both of them ignored my interview requests. But if you want the government's perspective on how things are going here, look at this poster. It's a warning about junk food on the walls of many public hospitals, and it's hanging above kids dying of malnutrition. Angola, rich oil country, diamonds? How can this be?
The government won't spend the money to make it change.
Stephen Foster is an American missionary surgeon who has worked for 37 years in Angola. He runs a hospital for the poor overlooking the city of Lubango in southwest Angola. And it was sticking out of the leg?
Yeah, broke right through.
The suffering is biblical. Complications of severe malnutrition left this 10-year-old with a bone infection and his femur broken and protruding through the skin.
Nobody took an x-ray for another year.
Dr. Foster saved his life and leg.
You don't need to make any new discoveries to prevent typhoid fever. You don't need to make any discoveries to provide better nutrition to children.
The reality is that these kids in the hospitals are the lucky ones. 50% of Angolans don't have access to health care at all. So what I've been seeing in the last few days, kids dying of malaria, of severe acute malnutrition, that is the better half of Angolan health care.
You've seen the best. That's what's happening as the best. Yes, exactly.
Boy.
If you dropped in here in a time capsule back in 1750, it's the kind of medicine that you can get 10 kilometers down the road here.
So this is what it's like to drive back in time. It takes 8 hours down barely passable roads to get to a series of villages near Melange, east of the capital. No schools, no clean water. The only clinic in the region has been sealed shut for at least a year. I couldn't imagine suffering worse than what I'd seen in the hospitals. Then I met Delfina Fernandez. The hardest thing for any parent is to lose a child, and you've lost 10 children. Whose fault is that?
Não estava lá médico, enfermeiro não estava. Tem que tirar o medicamento desse de raiz, não aguenta.
Delfina is blind in one eye and suffers from rotting teeth that cause agonizing pain every waking moment. She doesn't even know that Angola is rich. The only petroleum in her world is the gasoline that she uses to rinse her mouth to numb her toothache. Do you know whether Angola has a lot of oil and gas?
Aquele só tem que comprar para meter aqui dentro, para matar só aquele bicho que está lá. Meter na lockdown, para meter só aqui.
Petróleo?
É.
The one thing the Angolan government does offer is free family planning. Let's go inside and see what we find. This clinic in Lubango is packed with women who would love to get birth control. Are these available right now or not?
Não, mandamos comprar, não está disponível, não temos.
The nurse admitted that the shortage is a nationwide problem. She blamed it on the falling price of oil. But the country is still rich enough to build skyscrapers in Luanda, but not quite rich enough to provide injectables for these women at $15 a person. I know that aid programs give free medicine to Angola, so if the medicine isn't in hospitals, where is it? Do you have anti-malarials? So it says not for retail sale. We contacted the manufacturer, Novartis, and it confirmed that the drug was indeed a donation. So are there many doctors and nurses who sell medicines that they have on the black market?
Sim, eles tiram. Vem nos vender nós porque aquela é coisa que mais é dinheiro. Que eles é dinheiro.
What is happening in Angola is beyond belief, and it happens in broad daylight.
Rafael Marques de Moraes is a courageous journalist who's been jailed for exposing government corruption.
Corruption is the greatest endemic problem this country has. Because they steal everything, you know. They steal everything. Doing anything right has become the wrong thing to do.
If Angola had 10 whistleblowers like Rafael, there'd be a lot of lives saved. But the Angolan government has prosecuted Rafael as a criminal. The United States and European Union should support him more publicly.
The president's private house, here you don't feel.
The U.S.-Angola relationship is a love fest, which makes us complicit. Our assistance just lets wealthy Angolans off the hook as we subsidize their lavish lifestyles. Instead of giving money, we should be demanding accountability. And let's not forget about Western oil companies that occupy these towers. They too have blood on their hands for facilitating this corruption, and thus the deaths of children like Denise. The 11-month-old girl just died of malaria, even after her parents, Celia and Armando Matuba, bribed doctors at a hospital to get her better care. The family let us watch at the morgue as they washed and dressed tiny baby Denise. It's almost impossible to understand that she's dead. This year, world leaders are developing a 15-year battle plan to eliminate extreme poverty. Angola is a reminder that we can save children's lives not just with medicine and clean water, but also by battling corruption and our own complicity in it.
Essa criança, nenhum mal ela cometeu.
As the ceremony ended, I realized that 3 other little children were being buried right nearby. The expanse of child graves is a reminder that 6 million kids die every year globally. Nearly all those deaths are preventable, if there's a will.